Hey everybody, Mike Stroud. Welcome to Morganton Live. Good to see you today. By the time you see the airing of this podcast, man, we're probably over the elections and all those kind of things. And, I believe we'll still be going as America. So I'm looking forward to the unity that's getting ready to take place in our nation. I'm looking for the growth and all those things. But let's talk about it right now a little bit. What are the top 5 concerns that people have in their life right now in America? I always like to look at things locally. I'm a real simple person. A lot of times, people try to talk with so many fancy words and throw so many different numbers out there and things like that, when I like a real simple answer. The truth is simple. You tell the truth, you ain't never got to worry about lying. And I'm at that point in my life right now where I understand the benefits of telling the truth. It's the only way to be. When you're transparent, we see that right now in our politics and things like that. They're ready to see transparency in people. And I like being transparent. I like seeing people that don't have agendas. But so many of us have agendas in our lives, and we're living for ourselves like we talked about before. But I believe we can move forward, and these are some of the concerns we're talking about right now. Let's kind of go through them. I looked these up, and right now in America, basically the number one is economic stability. Now think about that. Duh. Where we going to get money to pay for things at? If you're like me, you live in week to week. Most people have done well with their life. I, as a kid growing up in elementary school, I had such a great time. We had such a great school, Richmond Drive Elementary School. Miss Thompson, Mr. Smith, they were black teachers there at elementary school there at Richmond Drive, and I loved them. And they ministered to me in so many different ways in education. Just as a kid, as much as you can understand in 5th and 6th grade, I was too busy worrying about playing around, man, having a good time with buddies out in the field, out in the yard, having a good time. And that's the way we live. So many times you're not concerned about those things, or you're not looking towards those things. But with education, that's where it all starts, in your finances. How are you going to learn how to do your finance? How are you going to learn how to economically grow? You got to be working. School is a testing ground. I didn't realize this. School is a testing ground to see where you're going to get in life. Your parents go to work, you go to work at school. But, school wasn't like that for me. School was fun. I wasn't worrying about education. Are you kidding me? And I got through most of the things that you can go through. I was the middle of the road kid, I didn't take homework. I didn't believe in homework. That's why I have such a problem with the kids taking homework home now, man. They don't have any kind of social feeling and for people and each other. They're so weighted down with trying to keep up with whoever's the smartest people in the world. Now, I'm not saying I'm not against being smart. There's people we got smart people. I'm just telling you where I was at, and the way I see things is it's developed. As you learn in life, life will teach you. That's the greatest teacher, is just lessons in life. And another great place to learn lessons is, me personally, I like looking at what the Holy Scriptures say. I like reading the Bible. It's a great textbook for life. You see how mankind has lived and how we're still living. I mean, that's the thing. It's like looking in a mirror and say, hey, man, look at that, man. It's the same thing. We're just as evil as we always been. People say it's bad now like it's never been. Are you kidding me? Man, there was murder in the first family. We were messed up from the beginning, man, when we didn't listen to God. And that's what it comes down to, is we don't listen to God. And that's in everything. In our economic development, though, you gotta learn, even from a young age, how to work. Take out the trash, cut the grass. I did all those things. And you start getting a little pride as you get older of wanting things. Only way you can have something is to make some money to earn it. You can't. My mom, bless her heart, she was a mill worker down there in Rock Hill Printing and Finishing, down in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and she raised 3 children and working in the textile industry like a lot of people did in the South. And thank God for her. She did all she could for us. But, she wanted us to do better. And the best way you can do better is by being educated. And that holds you down when you don't understand how things work. You can't communicate, you can't talk, you can't add, you can't read, whatever the case may be. You always want to be working on yourself more than you're working on your job. That's what I've tried to do since I figured this stuff out. Be faithful right where you're at. Pick up a broom right where you're at. Work right where you're at. Do what you do. Move. Do something. And, it'll get better for you. That's where economic stability starts. For me, I've always been just the worker. You know, some people, like we was talking about before I started this, you know, they've got money, or they're born into money, or they, you know, they got an inheritance. But, you know, when you read in Proverbs and in the Bible and stuff like that, you see how, and you see it in this world. You look around, you look in your own life, your own family and people around you and friends, and you see, and then you look at the Word of God and you read Proverbs and you see how people do. They haven't changed. We haven't changed. We're still trying to get over on one another, you know. And but, you know, you can operate with the principles of God and you can increase. It's all about increase with God. And that's, it seems like people get beat down. They don't have any hope of how to make it. Where's the money coming from? You know, you get stuck in a job and you think, well, you know, I don't have any education. I'll work at a plant, you know, and people get caught up doing that. But, you know, you got to have a vision, first of all. You got to have a vision to work. You got to be able to work. You know, well, it says if you work, there's much increase in even work. There's some profit in it, even if you're working. You know, if you don't work, you don't eat, the Bible says. I mean, that's pretty hard stuff. But, you know, as I've seen in my life and those around me, you know, and people reap what they sow. And it's best to sow good things in your own life, in your finances, sow in other people's lives. That's the only thing that's kept me afloat. That's the only economic stability I've ever had. Is I've never had the bank accounts and the monies, but I've had enough seed. We've all got seed to sow. You start sowing in people's lives, or you start sowing in your financial life, whatever that means. You got, you know, get counseling from whatever. Get counseling from whatever area you need counseling in. I mean, there's nothing wrong with getting the facts so that you can benefit your life. That's what it's all about, you know. And so, you know, get all the facts, get some counseling, find out what you need to do, and man, your life will be so much easier. You know, that's where it starts at. But for me, you know, I've always just worked, you know, and most people like that. Man, as Americans, we work, man. We work too many hours. You know, that's another part we'll talk about is work life and, you know, your mental state, you know, because people working themselves to death and they don't have any life at all. So let's go through these things. You know, let me pull this back up here. Okay, that was economic stability. Rising cost of living, inflation, job security are major stressors. You talk about stress, you ain't got no money. That's stress, man. You got to pay the bills, you can't cut the lights on. That's stress. You don't know where your next meal's coming from. That's stress. You know, so how do we eliminate that? How do we get past that? We all have struggles, and our struggles a lot of time get you out of your comfort zone. Say, I got to do something. And you'll get very creative in doing something. Now, don't do the bad things, do the good things. When you do the good things, God will reward you for that. But I believe if a person in their heart is really praying and really trying and really working, God will surround them. He'll open doors for them. Doors have always been open for me my whole life. It's always been a walk of faith daily, calling those things that be not as though they were. You know, that's the only thing that pleases God. The Bible says is faith. And so many people are not walking in faith. They're walking in worry. You know, they're stressing out, man. Their minds, they can't sleep at night. We're having heart attacks. We're eating Twinkies, man. You know, we're watching TV. We're hearing the news. The world's on fire, man. World war's coming. All these different things. And, man, it's what's going on? You know, some people are living through a flood right now, living through hurricanes right now, and, you know, other people living in a lap of luxury. What's going on? How's these things to be? But there still can be goodness right where you're at. That's what I'm all about. Local. Be faithful right where you're at. Be faithful in cleaning your house up right where you're at. Be faithful in taking the trash out, cutting the grass. God, that was the first commandment He gave Adam and Eve, was to till the garden and to keep it. And we've got the same thing. We've got to till this place. We got to keep it. And, you know, I'm all about maintaining things. So this is important stuff. So we'll go through these things. Families worry about paying for housing. You know, I'm all about the housing. Where are you going to stay at? You know, people don't, you know, people staying on the streets now, you know. I believe everybody should have a house. God always provides housing for His people. I believe that. If you're searching, if you're, you know, there's a way. I believe that's why it's so important what we're doing, manufacturing with the steel trusses and barn dominiums and things like that, here locally in Morganton, Burke County, and so we can provide housing for everybody. Inexpensive housing. I mean, do you know how much housing is right now? I mean, you got to be wealthy, and I'm talking, I haven't made the monies that most of my friends, the houses they live in. Most of them are excellent people, well-educated people, have done well in life, and they deserve that. God says, man, if you're wealthy, just know your place in life. If you're poor, know your place in life. But you can always increase. God's about increase. Like I said, you reap what you sow, but you got to do something. You got to work with your hands. Anyway, housing, we can get that worked out. That's a stressful thing. Groceries and health care, all those things. Everything now is so expensive. I went in Dick's Sporting Goods. I mean, you wonder, how much profit these places are making through COVID, and the prices just boom, jumped up there. It's all supply and demand, and I understand that. But it's like the prices jumped up there, and they're not coming back down. Everything is. I walked out there. I got a pair of shorts, running shorts, and a shirt, Under Armour, like Under Armour, and a pack of socks, and it was $100. Everything's $30. Shorts $30, shirt $30. You paying for them logos, whatever it may be. But I mean, does it really cost that much? I guess it does. That's none of my business. Everybody. That's the good thing about capitalism, man. You can start down at the flea market and you can start selling, and man, you can run into a big thing. That's what I'm all about. I've seen my life grow just like that. And here we are now, getting ready to step in some big manufacturing and things like that. And we're still small. We still ain't got the monies, but we're faithful and we got favor. And that's where it starts. It starts with just saying, hey, God, take me, use me, help me. And He will. There's a purpose in this life for you, and it's not to be struggling. It's not to be doing without. God's not about doing without. He's the God of abundance. And, He wants you to have. So let's keep going through these. Education's number 2, in quality and access. A lot of people don't have access to education. Thankfully, in our country, we got the public schools. That's a big issue right now. You got charter schools, which are public schools. But people are so divided now because we've gotten away from our traditions. Here in the South, they don't call it the Bible Belt for no reason. I'm thankful for that. I'm proud of that because I believe when people are godly and good, if they present themselves properly without offending someone, which you're always going to offend somebody, but you're kind, you're loving, you're caring. When you got those qualities, and that comes from God, that's His nature. For God so loved the world, that's His nature. When you have that kind of concerns for people, you want them to have the best educations. You don't want them to be separated. But so far right now in our education system, we've gotten away from God in school. They banning books now. A lot of Christians are about banning books and things like that. And, I'm different from everybody else. I think if you're living what you're supposed to be living, and look at Gutenberg. Hell, where would the world be without old Gutenberg? The Gutenberg press. It was made for spreading the gospel, making Bibles, and here it is now. It's used for media. The devil's never original. Man, he's the top one. He failed. Just like lightning. But the word is getting out, and it always comes inspiration. Look at it in music. Look at all the greatest artists. Most of them come out of church. Now the church kicks a lot of people to the corner too, and the church has done some bad things too. Church and religion, woo-hoo, they talk about don't talk about it. Well, let's talk about it because, man, I'm telling you what, there's confusion and every evil work on both sides. I mean, you ever tried to get in talk? You can't talk with people. People don't, we're so divided now that you can't even talk, insensible. But, you can listen to good music. You can acknowledge that. So music is a bridge to people. And people always, who can resist love? So I like love. Who can resist laughter? There's all these things play into our psyche and in our education. That's education right there, So many times education is not just in book smarts. People can have book smarts and be dumb. They don't have no character. They don't have no ability to connect with people. And that's sad because our life is short. We talked about this before. You know, our life is a vapor. Think about your own life right now. I mean, where are you at in life? I mean, like me, I'm 61. What? 61? You kidding me? Man, it just seems like I was in high school, you know. But now you are the old man. Now you are the old woman. Might not seem like it. We always children in our minds, but our bodies age and we grow and we get more wisdom and all the different things. We age. I mean, we only got a short time here. You know, so what are we doing? What are we living for? You know, if we were really kind to one another, there wouldn't be a need in this world. You know, you need some bread, we get you some bread. You need some clothes, we get you some clothes. You know, what are we doing? We're trying to destroy one another, you know. And so, you know, always give people access. That's what I love about public schools and stuff like that. Yeah, sure, people can start their own, you know, church schools and stuff like that, and that's fine, you know. I mean, that's America. We're the melting pot. You can do whatever you want to do, you know. But be Americans, you know. Don't separate us Americans by putting us all in different boxes. You know, you're Baptist, you're Methodist, you're Republican, you're a Democrat, you know. No, we're Americans, and we can be civil, and we can talk, and we can help each other during this time of struggle in this world. You know, we all gonna be dead soon. It says in Isaiah, man, it don't matter whether you're the king or the janitor, man, you one breath away. You one breath away from passing up, you know, just like the animals. We all gonna be perishing, you know. But in the meantime, you know, let's help each other out. Let's don't hold nobody down. Why would you not hold somebody? God's always lifting us up. Let's lift up each other and help each other get educated. You know, I'm learning every day. I like to learn every day, man. If I could go back and do it over again, don't people always say that? Man, I'd sit on the front row at the school. I'd have an apple for the teacher. I'd beat up anybody that tried to mess with me. I'd be focused on my education and learning. So that's where it starts at, is just saying, hey, man, I need to learn something. The Bible says my people perish for a lack of understanding. What about that? And the beginning of wisdom, you know, is the fear of God. Man, this is easy. He gives us all the answers. You know, that's just me. Now, you might not believe that, and that's fine, you know, but hey, still, we reap what we sow, and, you know, God, healthcare costs and access. Well, let's don't even talk about that. Man, that puts most people out of business. People can't even function and operate, you know, when they've got a health care issue. You know, they're done, you know, so we won't go into that much. I mean, you know, I remember my mom when she passed with cancer and stuff like that, just the bills and, you know, people can't function, you know, with that kind of health care cost. So I pray, one, for healing and miracles and God's work to be done. But in the meantime, people are dying, and, you know, and it's across the board. God reigns on the righteous and the unrighteous. I mean, he just gives it to us. You know, everything comes down from heaven. It's good. But in the meantime, we live in a fallen world, and it's tough. It's hard. And, you know, we just have to pray for one another. Lay hands on one another. Say, lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. I've laid hands on people, and they died. You know, but that's okay. You still be obedient. You know, you still pray. You still let them know that you loved them. You was there with them, man. You touched them. Man, he touched me. Man, that's what I need. Safety and crime. Man, I'm all about safety. Everywhere I go, the roads, the infrastructure, the wire, everything we've went through with Helene, the hurricane, it's been a safety thing for me. I've been preaching for 30 years since you go. Cut the stuff back, man. Cut the trees back. Make, you know, mobile sawmills. We'll make everybody a house just with the roughage we got on the sides of the road, hanging over the road up through the wires. You know, we can do these things. You know, it's a safety thing in everything. Everything's got to be safe. Even in our homes, when you go out on the streets. You know, I don't like people coming out from the darkness when I'm at the movie theater with my family, you know, and you know, asking for money or whatever the case. People rob you these days. You don't know what's going on. People sitting on the streets and drugs and all those different people that choose to do hard drugs, they've chose that, and I don't like it, man. They got to move along. And, you know, we help everybody. People got mental illness and things like that. We can help people. We got places, you know, that we can help people with and encourage them in this lifetime, even with the mental illnesses that they have. But for the rest of the people that's walking and working in this life, hey, man, they ain't going to look down to that. They want safety. You know, I like cameras everywhere. I don't know why we don't have cameras everywhere. Everybody says, I don't want no big brother. I don't want a police state. Well, I don't want a police state either, but I want a police community. And if the community, all of us together, are policing, checking in with one another, helping one another, seeing what's going on, it's bad. You know, that's the only way. The cameras is a no-brainer though, man. You know, up in the sky, looking down, all those things on the corners, you know, when we're trying to catch people that have taken a child, and we don't have cameras at the interstate ramps and stuff like that to say, boom, there he is. We got some things in place, but man, for me locally here, I want to know what the streets is looking like, and I want to know where they're at. And you know, to me, that's safety 101, man. We're going to find out who the bad guys are, the bad women, whoever they are. And man, we're going to make people safe. We want to be vibrant. We want our downtown to be bustling with people and festivities. And that's what we're all about here at Morganton Live. That's why we do this, is for music and fun and try to give people some hope, man. Some new life, man. Some new beginnings, man. And we're in that phase right now. And I'll end with this, because this is what everybody's caught up in, is work-life balance and mental health. Man, work-life balance. I can remember working at Lowe's, and they changed. You know, I used to work commission only, made good money, got paid on everything that come out through anybody that bought something from me at Lowe's. That's what it used to be. But then they kind of got rid of that, make too much money or whatever. You know, they send, you know, got executives, all those kind of, you know how all that stuff works. You know, you start making money, you're making a lot of money. You want to protect that money. You want to keep making it. Same way in healthcare. Dear God, you know, see all those executives, and man, a lot of them are good. But man, you talk to some of them nurses and stuff. Man, I tell you what, there's some crooked people everywhere. When it comes to money, there's always a crook. That being said, you know, I can remember when they just gave everybody a title, and then they cut everybody's hours. Nobody's working 40 hours. It used to be kind of like 40 hours a man could support his family, have vacations, you know, finance cars, whatever the case may be. That's kind of starting point, you know. But now, no, everybody's working part-time. We're not going to pay, you know, benefits, you know, and all these kind of things. People working 2 and 3 jobs. I mean, what's up with that? I don't like it. You know, I don't like it for myself, my neighbors, friends, or anybody else that's trying to work out there. If you're middle class and you're working middle of the road like I've been, always in the service industry, or whatever you're doing, you know, working just with your hands, your mind, everything else, just to try to feed your family, it'd be nice to know that things have come up some. You know, we got to come up. I mean, we can't be working 60 or 70 hours a week and coming home and you ain't got time with your family, and you can't raise your family, and you ain't got time with your wife or significant other, whatever it may be. You know, to me, we got to get back to bringing everything back in. You know, got to bring it back in. Work on the house a little bit. We're too busy a lot of times doing everything out here when our own place ain't in order. You got to get your own house in order before you can help anybody else out. You know, you got to be stable yourself before you can, you know, stable somebody else out. But so many times we try and do all these different things, and we're not in a position ourselves. And I think we're in a place where we can change the whole dynamic. You know, it don't have to be like it's been. There can be new dreams, new visions, new innovation. I still think we're living in last century. Dear God, just with the roads. You know, I'm a Star Trek guy. I'm a Jetsons guy, man. I want the doors opening up when we walk in there, like at the grocery stores and play. I want them fast, like, you know, like on those Star Trek. Man, you walk in, you know, I don't want to push. You see people go in restaurants and you see older people trying to get indoors, and you know the chamber lock from the air, wind, and everything. Doors about push me back down, you know. So you know, I want things to be better, easier, you know, inventive, you know. And so many people I talk to are like that. It's just like there's just been a cloak over us, you know. So many people watching the media and letting everything else dictate your life locally. Man, concentrate on your local area and watch what can come out of it. I'm telling you what, I'm telling all the sheriffs, the police officers, now they think I'm crazy, and I might be crazy. But, you know, I'm crazy about what I'm thinking about it, because I think it's the way it should be. I don't think you should be going everywhere training all this time, and you ain't got no time for your family. It just pay people money. Pay them money. They say, Mike, well, we ain't got the money. It's like right now, man, what's the average for teachers? You know, starting out $39,000. Man, that ain't no money. $40,000, that ain't no money. Hell, $70,000 ain't no money. You almost have to start $60,000 right off the bat to even get apartments. $2,000 a month? Are you kidding me? What is going on? You know, people kind of come up. You know, people need to live, and they can live better, the American dream. We can help that. We can help on housing. We can bring it way down. But there's got to be new people, new leadership, new ways of thinking. We can't do it like we've been doing it. You know, I'm sorry. You know, I think our people got to get paid good. All our people, all our local people, you, everybody out there watching, you need to be making good money. You need to be having mental health where you got peace, where you can take your family and go on a nice vacation, that you can have your own safety at your house, and you can come and go as you please, and you can help other people around you because you're living the good life. And I believe that. And these are top concerns in America and here locally. And my concern is, hey man, we're going to come out on top of this thing. We're going to reinvent ourselves. Man, it's time for our generation to shine. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited about your future. I'm telling you, it's going to start with music. It's going to start with all these things. It's going to start with our children, building for our family. It's going to start with asking God for wisdom. You know, you might not believe in God, but hey, man, ask for something. Ask whatever you want to ask. But man, let's get together and let's connect as Americans and let's do something great together. Watch what happens.